We're already halfway through 2021. We're gonna make it. Hi folks, Harry here, and today I'm going to be making a video that I've already made once in the past. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book... what's it called? The mid-year freak-out book tag? Is that what it's called? I always get the words mixed up. Yes, it is the mid-year book freak-out tag. So basically this is a challenge that was created a few years ago, and I actually did my own version of it around about a year ago, so I'll leave a card up here if you want to watch that for some ungodly reason. Please do not watch my old content, it's terrible. And it's basically just a list of round about 15 questions. I'm probably wrong, but it's round about 15, just about what you've read so far in the first half of the year. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. And lucky for you, I cannot remember what a single one of the questions is from last year, and I don't know if the questions have changed this year, but I'm going to be going with the same questions, and I've got them on my laptop, and I do not remember a single one, so I'm just literally going to be doing this video completely on the spot. Okay, so the first question is, what is the best book that you've read so far this year? And for me, I have three that I really struggle to choose which one is my favourite. And those are You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes, The Dark Half by Stephen King, and The Beach by Alex Garland. All three of those books I've given 5 stars, 6 stars if I could. They are absolute masterpieces in my mind, and they deserve so much more attention. Right, the next one is what is the best sequel you've read so far? And I'm really struggling to think of one that isn't You Love Me by Caroline Kepnes, because I've mostly read standalones this year, and if they're not standalones, then they have been the first book in a series that I haven't continued. And I think this is the only one that I have read that is good enough to be considered my favourite sequel that I've read so far this year. But I think it's You Love Me. This is the third book in the You series, the one with Joe Goldberg. Everyone knows the You series, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I need to stop saying absolutely fantastic. I swear to God, I'm so sorry. I say it so often in my videos, it must drive you insane. But I think that this is the best book in the series so far. Alright, the next one is what is a new release that you really want to read but you haven't. And for this one I'm going to cheat a tiny little bit and talk about one that isn't quite out yet, and it is Billy Summers by Stephen King. Billy Summers is Stephen King's next book coming out in August, and I could not be more excited because it's about an assassin, and for some reason I really gravitate towards books that have assassins as the main character, excluding Throne of Glass, but I don't want to talk about Sarah J Maas here. Actually, I will be talking about Sarah J Maas in this video just later on. But I really love stories about assassins. This is a story about an assassin, and it's written by my favourite writer of all time, so I really don't see how this can go wrong. And I'm really looking forward to this book's release. I bet I'm going to fly through it. I think I'm going to absolutely love it. Okay, so the next question, I've actually screwed myself over because I've already answered it, and it is, what is a release that is coming out in the second half of the year that you really want to read? And I'm going to choose a different one because I just did Billy Summers, and that book is called The Black Volume of the Dead by Cassandra Clare. It is the third book in the Eldest Curses series. I happen to love the Eldest Curses series a lot more than other people do. I really enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to this third book coming out. Oh no, this is where people are going to get really mad at me. This one is The Biggest Disappointment. Okay, so you know how I said I was going to talk about Sarah J Maas? A Court of Wings and Ruin was terrible. I rated this 2 stars and I absolutely despised it, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. The next question is, what is the biggest surprise that you've read this year? There could be a lot that could go on this list. I'm going to mention a few books here because I can't possibly just think of one, and that would be The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson, The Tommyknockers by Stephen King, Here the Whole Time by Victor Martins. This is probably one of my favourite books that I've read so far this year. I'd say Frankenstein is another one. I wasn't really expecting to love Frankenstein as much as I did. And this list could be so much longer. I think 2021 has introduced me to so many new favourite books, and I'm really grateful for that. Favourite new author? I'm gonna cheat a little bit. So last year in the summer, I read 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. And for ages, I just didn't read any more of his books, and I don't know why. But at the beginning of this year, I decided to actively read more Murakami because I really liked his writing style. And since then, I have read so much Murakami, and he is easily my favourite author besides Stephen King. He is my second favourite author. He is absolutely fantastic. Not absolutely fantastic, he's brilliant, and he's so talented. Oh my god, his writing blows my mind, it is so good. The next one is newest fictional crush. Typically, fictional crushes come from YA, and I'm trying to think of the YA books that I have read so far this year, and it's really not that many. I think it's got to go to Jessie Blackthorne from the Last Hours trilogy. I read Chain of Gold when it first came out last year, and I absolutely loved it. And Jessie happened to be one of my favourite characters. But even though I thought that Chain of Iron was a little bit of a disappointment, I loved Jesse so much more in this book. He's so intriguing, he's so fascinating. I think he's one of the most creative characters that Cassandra Clare has ever created. He's brilliant. And yes, he's probably my new fictional crush. I thought I could have like the stack of books that I've been talking about on the side, but it just looks so ugly. I'm gonna put them back on the shelf. Okay, so the next question is, what is your newest favourite fictional character? And I think this one is definitely gonna go to the badass that is Lisbeth Salander, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Lisbeth has been through so much shit. She is treated absolutely horribly by the men in this book, but then she whoops their ass and just destroys them, and oh my god, I love her. She is the badass that I want to see in every book from now on. Since I read this book, I think it was in January that I read this book. It's one of the first books that I read this year. I just thought no character is gonna ever match up to Lisbeth Salander, and I don't think anyone will. Okay, next up is a book that made me cry. Now this choice may surprise you, but it's actually The Talisman by Stephen King. This book isn't massively sad as such, but this book achieved something that no book has ever achieved in terms of me personally. This book made me cry from a single passage that was written well. I'm just gonna let that sink in. There was one passage in this book that was written so beautifully that it actually brought tears to my eyes. It's near the end of the book, not gonna spoil what it is because I want you to experience it in the same way that I experienced it. I was not expecting it, no one had told me that this was coming. I just read it and it actually brought tears to my eyes. It was so well written. Okay, a book that made me happy. There's going to be plenty of books on this list. I think I'm going to choose The Sky Blues by Robbie Couch. This is a YA contemporary novel that came out earlier this year. Actually, it came out the day after my birthday. And it is about a gay teenager in a small town called Skye. And there's just this absolute dickhead of a bully that goes to his school that kind of destroys his life via social media. And oh my god, it's depressing. But ultimately, it just made me feel really, really happy. It's definitely a feel-good kind of book. The general environment that it creates is amazing, and it's just really nice vibes. The next one is more of a visual thing, and it is the most beautiful book that I have received. I think I'm gonna choose Heartstopper, the graphic novel by Alice Oseman for this one. I'm still actually yet to read this, don't worry, I'll read it this month because Pride Month. But this book is so stunning, not just on the front, not just on the back, but on the inside as well. It is filled with so many good illustrations from the author herself, and it is just stunning. In terms of just cover alone, I'd probably choose Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I'm currently reading this right now, I'm about halfway through. And this is just such a stunning cover. I absolutely love this. My bookmark thing's in the way. It's such a nice cover, and I adore it. Okay, this list is going to be huge. Which books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh boy, there are so many. Okay, so my main priority is to actually finish Stephen King's entire autobiography. I meant bibliography. By the end of 2021. I think so far I have read 65 Stephen King books, and I think I still need to read maybe another 12 or 13. So I still need to read books like Dune McKee, Dance Macabre, Black House, From a Boo Kate, and a few more as well. Something I also want to get round to is the Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman. I've just heard so many good things about it and I really want to get to it. And there are a few queer releases that I really, really want to read. Obviously, one of those is the Heartstopper trilogy. I also want to read The World to Come by Jim Shepard. I'm also currently reading Red, White and Royal Blue. That is a mouthful to say. And I'm really, really enjoying it. And I also want to read a few more Murakami this year. And then the last question is favourite book community member. I'm just going to put these people's channels across the screen. Okay, that is the mid-year book freakout tag 2021 done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big fat thumbs up. And please consider subscribing for more bookish content from me. All of my social media links are in the description below. And I will see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.